Hi Rajesh. Hi, good afternoon everyone. Session will start in couple of minutes. Hi Uday. Hi Rupesh. Hi Praveen. Hi Ankit. Hi Ani. Hi Mujahid. Hi Umesh Kumar. Hello Samir. Hi Amit. Hi Gaurav. Hi Rushikesh. Hi Harish. Hi Mohan. Hi Sanjeev. Hi Rohit. Hi Rohini. Welcome to everyone. Webinar will start in a couple of minutes. Please be online. Hi Prasad. Hi Prashant. Hi Shaktivel. Hi Pandu. Hi Rajiv Singh. Hi Ashok. Hare duration is 1.5 hours. Hi Saurav. Hi Anusha. Hi Pratap. Hi Vinod. Hi Naveen. Hi Priyanka. Hi Kiran. Hi Ranbir Kumar. Hi Swati. Hi Siva. Hi Meghana. Hi Vignesh. Hi Gaurav. Hi Maheshwara. Hi Chidambaram. Hi Pooja. Hi Venkatesh. Hi Vinod Kumar. Hi Pranab. Hi Satish. Hi Anu. Hi Srinivas. Hi 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐫𝐭𝐢𝐧𝐠.
All right. Hello, everyone. Hey, guys, am I audible? Guys, am I audible? Please confirm. Fantastic. A very good afternoon to all. Thanks a lot for joining into the webinar, today's webinar series. And I really appreciate for taking your time to join today's webinar. Thanks a lot. I hope everyone doing well and you all safe. Family members also safe. All right. I think we're already running out of 6 minutes. Let's get started. So this is a second session on our AWS webinar series. In the last webinar, we were discussing about what is cloud computing and the basics about AWS. So just to quickly recap, we discussed about the evolution of cloud computing and basically the different types of cloud computing models, IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, and the different type of clouds. Okay, public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. And we seen like the pros and cons of using a different type of clouds, a public or a private or a hybrid, and also the different type of computing model, IaaS or a PaaS or a SaaS. And we also discussed about what is basically AWS, and in AWS, so what is an underlying infrastructure, what we have. So it's being comprises of multiple regions and availability zones, and we have a bunch of services which is available to access over the cloud, that has been categorized as a foundational services, as well as like a application or a platform services. And in our webinar series, we are focusing on the foundation series services. And in that, today we are going to talk about the AWS computing services. Okay. And also in the last webinar, we have talked about how to basically create a AWS account for free, and how to get into that AWS management console. I hope you guys would have tried after that last session. You might have an account. So today we are going to talk about um, the different AWS compute services which is available, and in that we are going to specifically talk about Elastic Compute Cloud, EC2, and as part of that we also going to discuss some of the concepts related to Elastic Compute Cloud, that is AMI, Amazon Machine Image. What is that, and what is the how do you create a AWS EC2 instance, and what are the steps involved in that, and the concepts related to that. Then we also going to talk about EC2 instance types. What are the different type of instances we have, and when to use what, and what is the life cycle of an AWS instance, right? And we're also going to see the different purchasing options which is available, and everything we are going to see with the practical hands-on. And as part of the hands-on, I'm going to create a EC2 virtual machine with Windows, as well as I will show it with Linux. Ubuntu machine will launch. So this will give a good understanding about if I'm going to use a AWS for as a IaaS service, infrastructure as a service. Okay, then how do I create virtual machines in AWS, and how to manage that, and how to access that, and how to deploy my applications into the virtual machines running inside AWS cloud. And also we'll touch upon the pricing, which is how much they're going to charge for using these EC2 instances in AWS. All right, and finally we'll just park some time to address your queries and answers. All right, guys, able to see my screen? I have shared my presentation. Please confirm. All right, I think some of you are having a problem with seeing the screen or hearing the audio. Probably it could be a problem at some networking issue at your side. Please have a check your connectivity and configuration once. All right, if at all, if you're not able to see my screen or my audio is not clear, probably the problem you need to check it at your side, any connectivity or configuration issues, because I see majority of people able to see and hear me properly. Thank you, guys. So let's proceed. Let's okay, so I think just to quickly talk about myself. So I'm 𝗬𝗺, and I have overall 14 years of experience. I'm specialized more into a full stack solution architecting, consulting, and technology trainings, and specialized more in cloud computing and big data analytics, microservices, and DevOps stack. So I have been working as a developer and solution architect and technology consultant and trainer, right? And overall, I have 5+ years of experience with cloud computing with AWS, and also I work with different type of cloud computing providers, Azure, GCP, and all. And overall, I have 4+ years of experience in corporate trainings. I have handled more than 100+ training sessions or 1,000+ participants across 25+ corporates. And currently I'm working at Realm Software Engineering Labs as a director, software engineering. And prior to that, I was working with Genpact and 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐫𝐭𝐢𝐧𝐠 for around 10 years together. And that's about a brief introduction. I think most of you were there in the last session, you would know about me. In case some of you joined newly, for them, I just give an introduction. All right. So there are a bunch of services we have in the compute service stack. So basically, why do we need what is the key functionality of the compute services? So we talked about earlier how basically cloud works, right? So whenever I have a requirement, like on the fly, I want to create some servers with the specific configurations, right? So I want to create a VM with specific configuration for my work. For example, I want a VM with 4 GB and 2 core with Windows. Okay, or I may have a requirement that I want to create a VM with 8 GB and 4 core and Ubuntu, right? So I'm like that. I may want to create the different type of VMs with a different type of configuration on demand basis, right? So this basically comes under infrastructure as a service, IaaS, right? So under this category, AWS offers a bunch of services. What are those services? The list which you're seeing here. EC2. So under compute, if you see the EC2, this is Elastic Cloud, Elastic Compute Cloud. So basically, I can able to create any number of virtual machines with any type of configuration, with any type of operating system, and as and when I required, and I can able to scale up or scale down on the fly. Okay, so that complete flexibility you will get. So when I'm going to create a virtual machine with the EC2 service, what I will be getting is a complete machine with the operating system installed. Depends on whichever operating system you're preferring for, Windows or Ubuntu or like Red Hat or a CentOS, whatever operating system you're looking for. Then with the configuration you're looking for, at any point in time, I can able to upgrade this machine from 4 GB to 8 GB or 8 GB to 16 GB, or I can also downgrade from 4 GB to 2 GB or 1 GB. As the requirement varies, your workload varies, you can able to upgrade or downgrade. Cool. And so that's EC2 service. And apart from that, so this EC2 is basically acting as a infrastructure as a service. Okay, and AWS also offers another service called Elastic Beanstalk. This Elastic Beanstalk is basically a PaaS, platform as a service. Okay, so this provides a PaaS, platform as a service. So earlier webinar we discussed what is actually a PaaS. So just to recall, as part of the PaaS, I'll be getting just a runtime. I will be getting a machine with complete runtime installed. If I need to deploy a web application of Java, I would be getting a instance with the Java pre-installed, with also all the prerequisite softwares will be installed in that. So all I need to do is just develop my application, just deploy it into that. So that is a PaaS. So the Elastic Beanstalk is going to offer that kind of a service. Okay, PaaS service. And we have a bunch of other things like ECR, ECS, and EKS. ECR, ECS, EKS. So basically these two, ECR and ECS. This ECR stands for Elastic Container Registry, and ECS stands for Elastic Container Service. So these two compute services are being used for running the container workload. For example, if I'm going to develop like an application and containerize using a Docker, I want to run as a Docker containers, and this ECS is provides the managed Docker service. So you can able to run your microservices or your application as a Docker containers with the help of ECS. And ECR provides container registry, where that is something equivalent to the Docker registry, what you normally get it. So that all the Docker images which you want to deploy into ECS, we can able to store it there. So these two combinedly provides a container to run, provides the computing to run a container workload. And EKS, this offers a managed service for Kubernetes cluster. Okay, in case I want to run my containers in a Kubernetes cluster, this EKS offers that one, Elastic Kubernetes Service. Okay, and Lambda is basically provides a serverless computing. When I say serverless computing, if I want to kind of perform some operation, for example, so whenever I want to whenever I receive an event, and based on that event I want to perform some operation. For example, I have a like an order service. Whenever order is created, there is an event generator, and based on that event I want to send some notification. So the logic for sending the notification, I can able to write it as a Lambda functions. So when I'm going to write as a Lambda functions for sending the notification, so what this will basically do is it will be looking for that order creation event. Whenever that order creation event take place, it will execute the logic for sending the notification. So the notification can go via email or it can go via SMS. It depends on what is the configuration we are putting in. So the idea here is I don't need any server to run the piece of code to send the notification. Instead, so that will be just running as a functions. Okay, so we call this as a serverless computing. Okay, so the Lambda functions which you can write in AWS provides the serverless computing capability. In case if I want to run kind of any batch workloads into the AWS, there is a batch service available. And if I want a VM as a private VM, so EC2 provides me a public virtual instances. If I want to get some dedicated private VMs, so there is a service available called Lifecycle that helps to create me a private VMs. So if you see, out of this different compute services, the EC2 is the one which provides the infrastructure as a service, IaaS offering, and also the Lifecycle. EC2 and Lifecycle providing the IaaS offering. The Elastic Beanstalk or ECR, ECS, EKS all provides the PaaS services, and Lambda is a serverless computing, and batch service is actually providing a computing for running the batch workload. Cool. Out of this, very commonly used service is EC2. Okay, with AWS. So let's try to get some deeper get into the EC2 and how that works. So EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. So Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud provides a scalable computing capacity in Amazon Web Services Cloud. If you see, it offers infrastructure as a service. So when I'm going to create a EC2 instances, I'll be basically getting like the AWS cloud will take care of managing the networking, storage, and provisioning the servers, doing the virtualization and everything. And they will also provide an instance with the operating system installed. All I need to do is I can just remote connect to that instance, and I can able to install whatever that application I want to install there, and I can run my workload or run my applications inside that EC2 instance. Okay, at any point in time I can able to scale up, scale down, and I can able to take a backup, and I can able to basically create multiple instances, do a load balancing, auto scaling. So they provide bunch of features around these EC2 instances, right? So let's get in. So what are the key thing which EC2 offers? Resizable compute capacity, complete control of your computing resources, reduce time required to obtain boot new server instances, For example, if I have a requirement, I need to create a 4 GB 2-core Windows machine. I just go into my AWS portal. Let's try to get in there. Let me just access it. So I'm going to connect to my AWS account. So if you registered account, you can able to log in into that AWS account. Last session we have seen how to create an account with AWS. Okay, so I'm signing as a root user here. Training Gmail. Okay. I'm into the AWS management console. Okay, so let me just so these are the different regions which is there. So I'm going to create the EC2 instances on a Mumbai region. So I'm just changing the region as Mumbai. Generally, by default, it selects the region from where you're logging in case if you're connected to VPN or you're logging from a different network, this may give you a different region. So you always pick which region I want to create the EC2 instance. The EC2 instance is nothing but a virtual machine which I'm going to create in a cloud. And go to services. These are the different services which I was talking about, right? EC2, Lightsail, Lambda, Batch, Elastic Beanstalk, and we also have the ECS, EKS, so that they put it into a different category. Okay, so currently we are going to, so they put as a separate category called containers. Earlier it was like a part of the compute. Now it become like a containers. Okay, so in this, if I'm going to create a EC2 instance, let's get inside the EC2 service. Okay, so this is the EC2 dashboard. Okay, and this shows currently how many instances are running, and like various other details, like are there any how many volumes are there, key pairs, placement groups, all those things. Okay, so let's come back. So I'm there here in the EC2 dashboard. Let's quickly understand few more concepts related to this. I will come back. So scale capacity as your computing requirements change, and pay only for capacity that you're actually using. And I can choose either Linux or Windows, and deploy across AWS regions and availability zones for reliability. So currently I have picked Mumbai region, and the Mumbai region has 3 different availability zones. So when I'm placing an EC2 instance, I can pick which availability zone I want, right? If I don't select anything, it will deploy into one of the availability zone, and I can use the tags to manage the EC2 resources. All right, how to create a EC2 instance? If I want to create a EC2 instance, what I required is I need a AMI. Okay, let me just come back here. So I'm there here. I'm going to instances. So this is the instances, is EC2 instances dashboard. It's loading up. Currently, I don't have any instance. All right. Let me launch a new instance. So this is the first step. When I'm going to launch a new instance, I need to, there are multiple steps I need to go through. Okay. As a first step, what I need to do is choose an AMI. AMI, right? AMI stands for Amazon Machine Image. What is AMI? It's nothing but what operating system or what software package needs to be installed on the EC2 instance which I'm going to create. Okay, So you already have a bunch of standard AMI images. So if you're from the list, you can able to select any one of them. For example, if you see, if I want to create a Amazon Linux instance, I can pick this AMI. So if I want to launch a Windows machine, Windows, I can search for a Windows. So I can able to find AMIs for Windows. So I got a Microsoft Windows Server 2019 base, and this is this is coming with Windows 20, Windows Server 2019 with SQL Server 2017. Okay, so if I'm choosing this one, I'll be getting a Windows Server along with SQL Server. Okay, and so likewise there are different versions of Windows servers available. Yeah, you can pick which one you are looking for, and you can use that one. Or if I'm looking for a Ubuntu, I want to create an instance with the Ubuntu operating system, I can browse the AMI images for Ubuntu server. So I have Ubuntu server 18.04, 16.04, and a few other images also there, which is coming with the see, there is a Ubuntu server which is coming with the deep learning AMI. So if I'm going to build a deep learning applications, so all the softwares required for that building the application comes along with this image. So when I'm going to use this image, launch my EC2 instance, I'll be get all the softwares installed and will be available for my use. Okay, so we need to pick which AMI we want. So if you are going into a free tier, you can see like there are a few AMIs will be chargeable. If you are looking for only free tier, you can just select this option free tier. It will list only the free tiers. Okay, if you're okay with select anything, you can just browse that one. For example, if I'm going for a Red Hat is not a uh, free one. There is a license. Okay, so you can see how much they're going to charge, starting from 0.05 per hour. Okay, so so if I'm going to deploy a SAP HANA, again that image, there is some licensing cost would be there. Red Hat Linux server, there is a licensing cost. So for now, let's pick up a Windows. I'm going to use a Windows. So Windows Server 2019 base, I'm selecting this. As a first step, I need to select what is the image I want to use. The image is nothing but it comprises of an operating system. As a basic, it should have an operating system. On top of that, you may get an image with other softwares as well. So depends on the requirement. You can pick. So this will have an image will have operating system, applications, and the configurations related to that. Using this AMI image, I'm going to launch an instance. I'm moving on to the next step. So now I need to choose what type of AWS instance I want to launch. So they basically categorized the AWS instances into the multiple buckets. The broader categories are the general purpose EC2 instances, compute optimized, memory optimized, storage optimized, GPU instances. If you're seeing, if I'm looking for a general purpose instances, here you can see like the family is general purpose, and if you're going down, you can see compute optimized, and you can see memory optimized and storage optimized or GPU optimized. What does it mean? It depends on what kind of application which I'm going to so these are the different categories: general purpose, compute optimized, GPU instances, memory optimized, storage optimized. And what does it mean? That basically talks about what type of workload I'm going to run in my EC2 instance. So general purpose instances are suitable for running low traffic websites and web application, and small databases and mid-sized databases, right? So normally the families, the instance families which is coming with T2 or a T3, M4, M3, these all, like when you say T2 nano, T2 micro, T2 small, so these are all general purpose instances. What is the significance of this nano, micro, small, and medium? That indicates the configuration. When you say nano, this you'll be getting 0.5 GB with one CPU core. The micro instance, it comes with 1 GB and one CPU. Small, 2 GB, one CPU core. And if you likewise, if you go, I can create an EC2 instance up to like in this general purpose category, so up to 32 GB of RAM. If you actually go down, there are bigger instances I can create in the general purpose. If you say M5AD.24x large, I can create a single VM which is going to have 384 GB, right? So even if you just go down, so you have you can able to create 0.5 GB to 358. So here you can see 768. It's memory optimized. I can create one instance which is going to have 765, 68 RAM, GB of RAM. Okay, so if you just imagine, so even I can create pretty bigger ones. You just imagine if I'm going to procure a server which is going to have 3904 GB of memory, how much that would cost. But if I'm going to want this kind of a bigger machine just for my some experimental testing or running my workload for a shorter time, I can always go and rent it from here, right? I can subscribe it, right? So the biggest size you can create here is uh, 3104. Okay, so as small as 0.5 I can create, as big as like close to 4000 GB of size I can able to create. And similarly the cores, so I can create as small as one core to hundreds of cores. Okay, so 96 core is there. And if you basically come, so so at most like 128 core. Here I'll be getting a 128 core machine. So these are the different type of configurations which is available. So you can able to match what type of instance I'm looking for. So if I'm going to run some workload which requires a lot of compute or CPU cycles, and I can opt for C4 or C3 family. Okay, high performance front end fleets. So such as like video encoding, a lot of stream processing, or doing a lot of compute processing, running some complex algorithms, you can use this one. If I'm looking for a more memory optimized, like I want to run some distributed memory, I want to use it as a cache, or I want to run some in-memory databases which requires a lot of memory, or I want to run some kind of a Spark applications which requires a lot of in-memory RAM. So in those cases, memory optimized instances suits well. If I'm going to store, create a database or a data warehouse or data lake, so in those cases, I can create EC2 instances which are storage optimized, right? Then if I'm going to do a lot of machine learning kind of processing, then I can go for a GPU instances, which is more optimized for doing a very complex iterative or repetitive processing. Okay, so first, as a first step, choose what is the AMI I want. As a second step, you have to pick up what is my instance which I'm looking for out of this category. Depends on what kind of application I'm going to run in that instance, I can choose. Then I have a variety of options here to choose. So by default, under free tier, you can create this one. If you are creating any other type of instances, that will be chargeable. Okay, so there is a pricing calculator they have for each type of services, which we can see a while. Then so going on, I picked up an instance. Then I need to tell how many numbers of instance I want to create. So here I'm telling, okay, one instance is fine. If I want to 10 instances, you can say how many number of instances I want. 10. Okay. Then here, whatever I'm creating is like a on-demand instance. So you can keep this as the default one. This is more about where that instance has to be placed. If you remember, this instance is going to create in the Mumbai region. So here I can select under which so Mumbai region has 3 availability zones. Okay, if I want this to be deployed on availability zone 1A, I can pick this one. If I want it to deploy in availability zone 1B, you can pick. If I don't provide any preferences, it will be automatically created in one of the availability zone. Okay, then there are a few other advanced configurations of there, so you don't need to worry. And the tenancy is another important parameter. So here it's basically telling, so for creating this VM, the underlying hardware, is it a dedicated one or a shared one? So I'm using a shared one. It's not a dedicated hardware I'm getting, right? That hardware which will be shared across the instance. That is the default type. Cool. So I have selected a AMI image. I picked up an instance type. Then in the configuration, I'm providing the details about how many instances I want, and I'm telling under which availability zone it has to be created. And also, I have an option whether it should be a dedicated instance or it will be a shared instance. So dedicated instance will be costlier compared to shared instance. But what's the difference? If it is a dedicated instance, the performance wise it will be a little better compared to your shared instance. But cost wise, this will give you better benefits. All right, let me go next. Then, so currently I'm in the process of assembling a small computer, right? So I have selected what is the operating system, and also I selected how much RAM or CPU cores I required, and how many instances I have selected. The next one I need to say the hard disk, right? How much storage I want to add. So that is the next one. So this here actually basically we are telling how much storage I want to give it for that instance. So for Windows instance, minimum it requires 30 GB. Maximum you can give like 2 terabytes. So up to 248 GB I can able to provide it. Okay, so currently I'm just going with the default one. Then this indicates like what type of the volumes I'm going to use, whether it is a SSD or a HDD or it's a optimized. So when you say SSD, it's a solid state disk. This read write will be faster. Okay, if I'm going for a magnetic, it will be slightly slower. What is the difference? The charge. If I'm going for SSD, the volume cost will be slightly higher, whereas this will be slightly lower, but here you will get a better performance. Okay, and also I have an option whether I want to encrypt data whatever I'm storing in the disk. So if you want to encrypt, there is an encryption configuration we can provide. So I'm just moving ahead, and I need to provide some metadata, like I'm going to create an instance. If I want to identify that instance, so I can provide some kind of a tags. So I'm going to provide some tag like EC2 Windows. So this is a EC2 Windows box, Windows machine. Okay. So you can provide any tab you want. This is mainly for like when I'm going to create hundreds of instances. If I want to filter the instances, if I want to group the instances together using these tags, I can able to do. Cool. What's the next step? So I need to specify like a security group. What is a security group? If I'm going to create an instance, this instance is going to run in a AWS cloud. If I'm going to create a computer and putting in my network, so you'll be setting up some firewall at a computer level, right? What firewall do? So that will restrict who can access that particular machine, and what ports will be exposed or what will be restricted. So the security group is nothing but like a firewall which you're going to set up at a instance level or a particular server level. What is the use of that one? So this is going to help to secure the instances which we are going to run. Okay, so so you can select existing security group or you can create a new group. So I'm going to create a new group saying that AWS. Okay, so I would say demo security group. Okay, so I'll put it like Windows security group. So this group is for Windows machine. I'm just providing a description. Windows security group. Okay, then by default here I can provide the rules. I can configure the rules, the inbound traffic and outbound traffic. So here I configured by default it will allow this particular port on this machine. Okay, from which machines it will allow this access. When I say 0.0.0.0/0, that means this will allow this particular port to be accessed on this machine anywhere from anyone over the internet. If you say this is like it will be allowed from anyone. If I'm going to allow only for my specific IP, I can pick this one. Now what will happen? This instance will be accessible only by me, no one else. Or I can provide a custom range also. I can provide my subnet address like 192 dot something like this. So whichever the machine falls in this particular subnet can able to access. So when I say anywhere, so I'm just providing this. All right, and so that's all. The next one is review and launch. Okay, so here you might see some warning here. So this is because currently I opened up that access to anyone. That's why. But generally the recommended is don't allow this access to anyone to safeguard. Let me just allow the access only from my machine for time being. Okay. So review and launch. We're all good. So here I can quickly review about that instance. What are the things? First I can see I selected to use I wanted to launch a Windows instance, so the AMI I'm selecting, and here the instance type, what is the configuration of the machine I want to launch. So 1 GB with 1 core, and the security group details and the rules, and the instance details are there. So what is the like availability zone it has to be placed, and whether it is a shared or a dedicated one, and the storage details, how much hard disk I'm going to provide. Okay, cool. So we all good. Now I'm going to launch. The final step, it is actually asking something like a key pair. What is the key pair here? Once I launch that instance, I need some mechanism to log in into that machine, right? So if it is a Windows machine, I need a username and password. So I can if it is a Linux machine, I need like a username and a key to access, right? So I'm launching a Windows machine now. So what I can do is I can generate a key pair here. Using this key pair, I can able to access this machine. So if you want to create a new one, so you can say create a new key pair, EC2 Windows key. Okay, and what we need to do is we need to keep that key file which is generated safely. So using this key file only I can generate the password. Now I got the key file which with the extension .pem. So if I just go and look at that key file, whatever I downloaded, EC2 instances. Okay, so this is the key file which I got. Okay, this I will not able to interpret. This is a private key file. I need to keep it safe. Let me proceed here. Create a new key file. I downloaded that one. Launch. So this gonna launch the EC2 instance. So I can able to track the status. If I want to see the status of that, you just go back to the EC2 dashboard, and you can see I created a EC2 instance, the Windows machine. This is whatever the tag I provided, right? That tag is coming as a name here. And every time when the instance is created, there will be an instance ID allocated, and it shows all the details about under which availability zone. AP South 1 indicates it's a Mumbai, and AB South 1A in one availability zone A, it is deployed. Okay, then what is the instance state? And you can see if it's successfully launched, it will show you a public IP. So the moment the EC2 instance is launched, I'll be getting a private IP as well as a public IP. So whenever I want to access this instance over the internet, right, I need to use this public IP. So let's quickly see the life cycle of the EC2 instance. So whatever I did now is from my AMI, I launched, and it went to a pending state. From pending, it became a running. Currently, it is in a running state. From running, I can stop that instance. Okay, it can go to stopping and stopped. Or from running, I can shut down. So stopping means I can stop and restart it again. Whatever the data which I'm storing, it will be retained. But once I terminate, so all the data which I'm storing in that, it will be deleted, cleared off. Or I can do a reboot. Okay, so reboot will actually restart the machine. So it's currently in a running state, and if you want to quickly see the instance details, this will show quick summary. So what is the instance ID, what is the status, instance type, and what is the private IP. This is a private IP, and this is a public IP, and this public IP is being assigned now. If I'm going to restart, this IP may change. Okay, so it will dynamically allocate that IP every time I'm going to start that instance or restart the instance. And it's also provides the details. What is the AMI is being attached to this, and it provides the details about the networking, to which network it has added, and the security group details. So the security group, Windows security group, is the one which we created. As part of this particular security group, currently there are two inbound rules and outbound rules. Inbound rules indicates the traffic which can come inside to the machine from over the internet. Outbound is from this machine, what are the ports I can able to access over the internet. Currently I'm allowing all traffic as an outbound. So inbound, it can I'm allowing only the RDP access to this Windows box only from this IP. Okay, cool. So let's come back. So the instance is running. Now how do I access that instance? So accessing this instance, if I go back to EC2, running instances, okay, so you can say connect. If I want to connect to an instance, right, you can say connect, and here it will download you the desktop remote desktop file with the details. But basically what we need to do is I need to generate the password. So whatever I got is, the moment I launch that instance, I got a public DNS name. This is automatically generated. Either I can connect to this instance using this public DNS name or the public IP, whatever you are seeing there. And the default username is administrator. The password is not generated yet. Okay, so how to get the password? You click on the get password. If you remember, while launching that instance, we created a key pair, right? So I have to use that key pair. So I can say choose key. So whatever the key I got generated, here, AWS Windows key. Let me just open that. So that key I have provided here, and from that key I can decrypt the password. Yes. So whenever I'm going to connect to this machine, this is a password which I need to use. You just take this, copy this, and keep it safe. So you need to keep your PEM file and your password safe. Okay, and you also note down what is the public IP of this machine. The username is administrator and the public IP is either I can use this to connect. Okay, so let me just download a remote desktop. So if you just RDP and click on that one, so that will connect to this machine over the RDP. So it's trying to initiate the remote connection to this instance. So let's, okay, it's, let me just do one thing. Let me copy this public IP. The other way of connecting the RDP is MSDSC. This also launches the RDP console. So I can provide I'm doing a remote desktop connection to this machine. I need to use a public IP or the public DNS name. So it will prompt you. Okay, so it seems it's not connecting. So what could be the problem? Probably like whatever that if it's not connecting, the problem could be in the security group. In the security group, I have provided the configuration, right? I need to relook that configuration. If I go here, edit inbound rules, I think I just allowed to a specific IP. Probably my IP got changed or something. For time being, I'll just say anywhere. Okay. Save rules. Coming back here. You say connect. Yes. I think earlier that IP which I allowed was not same as my machine IP. Probably that would have been changed. That's a problem. So whenever you are unable to connect to that machine, right, most of the time the problem is with your security group. You need to go and verify whether the port is allowed to access from this particular machine. Then you provide your credential, whatever we got, whatever. So the default for Windows machine, it's an administrator, and the password is the one which got generated. I'm going to connect. So there I am. So it's connecting me to the remote machine. Okay, so I got Windows machine up and running. Since I was explaining, it was taking time, but actually it's a matter of a few minutes to get your instance up and running. I got a Windows machine now. So now if you just go back and see, here you can so if you remember, we allocated around 30 GB for the hard disk, right? So around 30 GB, so 16 GB is free, and there is a C drive, so you can able to install your applications here, and that application you can able to access it over the internet. So whatever that, so you got a VM with the operating system installed. So there's a Windows operating system installed, and from here you can able to you'll get an access to the internet, and also you could able to install the other softwares. Okay, and you can able to do all operations. So it is as good as you got one server now with the operating system. So on top of that, if you want to install a Java, you can install a JDK and you can run your application. Or if you want to install a Python, you can install the Python and you can run your application. If it is a node, whatever it is. Then how do you access that application? Once you install and you're running your application using this public address, whatever that public IP you got, right? Using that public IP, you can able to access the services running on that machine on the port which it's running on. Okay, so whichever the public IP you got using this public IP, and if my application running on port 8080, you can specify this IP colon 8080, or this DNS name colon 8080, or if it's running on 80 port, you can just specify this IP with port 80. And we need to ensure whatever the port you are allowing to access from outside, that port should be added in the security group. If I'm running my database there, and the database is kind of running on port MySQL I have deployed, and it's running on port 3306, I need to ensure edit the inbound rule and add a rule here. So you should allow a port 3306 and so on, so IP. Then only that will be accessible. Or if my running my application on port 8080, so you need to ensure allow that access to a specific IP or to everyone. Okay, so you can control the access with the help of the security groups. So this acting as a firewall. Cool. So now my like a Windows instance is up and running, so anyone can able to access from anywhere now. As long as you have internet connectivity, I can able to access this machine. If I'm running some applications on this machine, this application also would be accessible over the internet. Okay, and what else? So if I go back here, in case if I want to check the logs about this instance, I can go here. So what are the other information I can able to monitor, check here? You can able to monitor the instance utilization. So what is the CPU utilization, and disk read write, and the network traffic. Okay, so all the vital parameters about that instance you can able to monitor it from here. Okay, what is the CPU utilization, disk read write, network for the last 1 hour or last 24 hours or last 1 week. And we can also create some alarms. If the CPU utilization goes beyond 90%, you raise me alarm. Okay, and what you will do, I can come back and try to upgrade this instance. So currently I launched that instance with 1 GB. In case if I want to upgrade this instance to 2 GB, it's pretty easy. And before that, if I want to access the logs for this instance, get system log. So this will print your operating system logs, right? And you have a lot of other settings as well. So there is an option, you can able to add it into auto scaling group, so that you can configure some rules. As and when the CPU utilization goes 80%, you automatically spin up on another instance. So automatically it will create one more instance of the same copy. Okay, and it will create a load balancing between that. Then I can able to instance screenshot, and the other important thing is I can manage the life cycle of the instance. So currently the instance is in a running state. If I want to stop, so they will be charging only when the instance is running. Okay, so if I'm going to not using that instance, I can just stop and leave it. Okay, so in that case there will not be charge for this particular instance, but whatever the service running, I will not able to access. And for every instance which I'm launching, there is a volume attached, right? So you can check that volumes here. So that volume we call it as an elastic block store or EBS volumes. So so later if I want to increase the volume size, currently I attached with 30 GB, I want to increase to 100 GB, I can come here and I can able to edit that volume. Okay, modify volume, you can upgrade the volume size 30 to 100. Okay, you can't downgrade, but you can able to upgrade. Or if I want to add one more volume to the same instance, you can able to do. So the volume I can manage separately. I can able to attach or detach. In case whatever the data which I'm storing in this instance, right, this will be there in this volume. If I'm going to create another instance, I want to get the other instance with this data, I can simply detach the volume from this instance. There is an option to detach the volume. Then I can attach the volume to another instance. It is as good as in your computer, you remove your hard disk and put the hard disk to another machine. Okay, that also we can able to do. Fine, let me go. Currently the instance is stopped state. If it is a stopped, I can't able to access that instance. Let me just get that. So it's not accessible if the instance is stopped. Then if I want to upgrade that instance, right, all you need to do is go action, instance settings, change instance type. So if you want to upgrade or downgrade, you need to bring it down. So if it is currently micro, I want to upgrade it to small. Apply. So it's done. So now I got a 2 GB of RAM. Earlier I got 1 GB RAM. I got 2 GB now. Then you can simply start this. Now I got my instance upgraded to 2 GB and I'm just starting. Then after it comes up, I can able to access. In case if I want I want to create another instance. So I'm going to make it faster now. You can see how quickly you can create an instance. So I'm going to create a Ubuntu, a Linux instance. As a first step, I'm going to pick up Ubuntu instance, Ubuntu, and I'm going to launch that free tier. Fine. And configuration, one instance I'm going to create the default thing. This all fine for me. Now add storage. For running a Ubuntu Linux instance, the minimum 8 GB is sufficient. For Windows, 30 GB. For Linux, 8 GB is sufficient. Add tags. I'm just going to make this EC2. I'm making this Ubuntu. Security group. So I can create either a new security group. I can use an existing security group also. So if I have that one, I can use that one also. So, but in that case, I need to ensure the port 22 should be allowed. So if I can either create a new security group or you can use the same one. Into security group. So generally, like we will not create a separate security group for each one. So for a group of machines, I will have a specific security group which falls into the same access control, right? So by default for Ubuntu machine, it's allowing SSH 22. And review on launch. So launching it. Then again while launching, I need to select the keypad. Okay, I can either use the same key or I can create a new key. Okay, so if so currently I'm just going with the existing key itself. So I already have a key. Using that key, I can able to connect. So that's all. Now I got another instance of Ubuntu. Go back to instances. I got a Windows machine which is running, which is of T2 small. I got another machine which is of T2 micro. Okay, it's running. So how do I connect to this Ubuntu machine? Windows machine, I can do RDP. Ubuntu machine, I should do a SSH. Like I need a SSH client or a PuTTY. Using that, I can connect. Okay, so what I can do, I can take this key and let me put it here. Webinar. All right. This is the key I have in EC2 Windows key. So if I want to access this machine, right, I can simply navigate to that location. If you have a PuTTY, you can able to access using the PuTTY. Otherwise, this is a PIM file. Okay, I have a PIM file. I need to ensure the instance is up and running. And how I'm going to access it? I have to do SSH-I, then the PIM file name EC2 key.pim, and I would say what is the username. By default for the Ubuntu instances, the username is going to be Ubuntu, then the IP. So the IP for this instance is, this is the public IP which I got. Copy this public IP. So now it's connecting to that Ubuntu server which is running remotely. It's connected. Okay. So this is the Ubuntu machine which is running there. So it's pretty easy. Then if I'm going to run some application, you can, so in the Ubuntu you can use the Ubuntu package manager. You can install whatever the software you want. that you can able to access it over the internet, right? So then once all your work is done, you can come back, you can stop your instances. You can say like you can stop one or multiple. So once it's stopped, you can't able to access it. So now it's stopping. So after stopping, if I'm trying to do an SSH, and this will work only if the port 22 is allowed to access uh, from this particular machine or to everyone. But generally, you need to be very careful. Don't open the ports to everyone at any point in time. You allow only for a specific users, because the people can try to hack your machines, and they may try to run their applications if you're just not configuring the security groups properly. So that is at most important. So now if you see that instance is stopped, I am unable to do an SSH. All right. So this way, like suddenly if I want to create 100 instance of this Ubuntu, right? So while launching, I can specify 100 instance, or I can create a template. So from a particular instance, I can create a template, and using the template, I can able to create as many instances as I want, similar to the template. There are a few more other things of that, but these are the basic steps, guys. And when it comes to the purchasing options, we'll get a on-demand instances, that is pay by hour. Okay, so how much charge they put, is it to pricing, and under free tier they're allowing 750 hours. So under free tier, so uh, 750 hours of Linux or Windows T2 micro instance, that is 1 GB RAM. Okay, for each month they will allow. That means either I can run one Linux or a Windows machine continuously for 1 year. Okay, then there won't be any charge. If I'm creating a nano instance, even the smaller instance, any other bigger instance, there is a charge. How much charge they put? So there is a pricing schedule here, and this pricing is depends on what is the type of operating system I'm using. Is it a Red Hat or a Windows or Windows with SQL? Because there is some licensing cost for the softwares. If I'm using just a plain Linux for a Mumbai region, again region wise there will be a variations for the pricing. So if I'm going to use like T3 micro, okay, whatever I use, so how much they are charging? So it's roughly like 0.0112 dollars per hour. So the charge is based on the per hour. So if you see the exchange rate USD to INR, so we get around 75 into 75. So it is almost like 84 paise per hour. If I'm running this instance for 1 hour, it is like 84 paise. Almost like you can round it off to 1 rupee. If I'm going for a bigger configuration, right? For example, 32 GB, then the cost will be slightly bigger. So this instance 3584 into 75. This comes around 26 rupees. So depends on the size of the image, the size of the instance, the rate will vary. Smaller instance cost you less, and bigger instance cost you more, and they will calculate the charge only for when the instance is running. Okay, and again the cost may vary. If I'm using a Windows with SQL, right, there will be some additional licensing cost. So here the complete list is there, the cost list. Cool. Then what are the other option? Whatever we are seeing is an on-demand instance, and we can also reserve the instance. For example, I can reserve an instance for 1 year or 2 year. So there you can get some discounts. Minimum you have to reserve for 1 year to 2 year. So compared to this price, you'll be getting a discounted price. And you have something else like a scheduled instance. And again, this scheduled instance is like it's a kind of a reservation. So the purchase instances that are always available on the specified recurring schedule for 1 year time. So you can put a schedule that I want the instance on that particular 2 months in the year or 3 months in the year. So in that case, there will be some kind of an offering you'll get. Then there is another interesting type of instance, spot instances. When you're going for a spot instance, so what is a spot instance is whatever the sparse capacity they have in the AWS cloud, in the entire public cloud, they just make it available as a spot in they will actually auction it. If you're paying like 1 rupee per instance here, probably like in the spot, if I'm getting a same type of instance as a spot instance, maybe like 50 paise or 60 paise I will get it. How they are able to offer that one? So whatever the spare capacity they have, they just auction it. You can bid. So depends on who are bidding more, they will be allocating that instance. So generally this will be cheaper instance, but the downside of this one is this will not give you the consistent performance. The on-demand instance will provide a consistent performance. So if there is a high demand on their AWS cloud, these instances might be reclaimed by them. So it will not provide you the consistent or a continuous performance. But wherever you are going to run some workload for a shorter period or something like non-critical workloads, this will give you a better cheap cheap cost. So the dedicated instance is more like I'm actually getting the instance from a specific hardware. Okay, so this is more like I'm getting a VM from a specific hardware. Dedicated host is like they are providing a separate physical machine. There will be some use cases where I don't want a virtual machine. I want a physical machine. So they will give you a dedicated host where there will be a separate dedicated hardware assigned for you. The cost will be much more higher compared to on-demand instance. These are the different purchasing options are there. So it depends on if I'm planning like I want the instance for 1 year, you can go reserved instance, or I want an instance for a shorter period of time to run my workload. Spot instance will give you a cheaper cost compared to on demand, right? Or if I want my workload to run in a dedicated physical server, then dedicated host, the cost will be higher. So you have all the flexibility and options on choosing the kind of instances. And once the instance is created, you have a complete handle to upgrade or downgrade, stop, restart, terminate, all those things, right? Let me stop it here. I'll just open it for a QA.
Okay, great, Sarvana. Really a nice webinar. I think Q&A is still pending. I know there were a lot of people who are asking about recording. So, guys, what we have done is, for the recording, we have created a web page, and all the recordings will be uploaded over there. So I'm just putting it on the chat section so that you can quickly make a note of those link, and you can go and check for the recording here. So I'll just share my screen and show you what exactly happened and where you can find the recording. Just let me know once you. So Sarvana, you're able to see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, great. The black box which we have, where all the recordings, the previous sessions recordings are also there. The upcoming sessions recordings are also put onto the we will be uploading it. So as of now, the recordings are not ready. So even today's recording session will be uploaded another 2-3 hours, and then you can find. And in the right side, we also have running a full-fledged training on AWS. So if anybody is interested, we have a discount offer. The actual price is 13,800, but we are just giving it for 4,956, which is inclusive of GST. So you have the details of downloading the content, and if you want to enroll here, and the enroll button is also there. So lastly, what I want to mention is, all the updates of the AWS, we have created a new page that is Master AWS with Skill Up, right? So anything related to AWS will be uploaded here or posted here. So you can follow us and you can get all the updates, whether it is on the webinar or the recordings, all these things will be uploaded over here. Okay, so recordings, and if you want to join for the course and for the latest update, all at one place, we have made it in this website. Okay, so right, Sarvana, I think over to you. You can take over the Q&A.
All right. Thank you, Kumar. I got few questions. If you have to access to GUI of Ubuntu machine, then what are the steps? See, like whatever that the Ubuntu server we got there, by default it's not coming with the GUI. If you want to access the GUI, so after connecting to that Ubuntu machine, you can install the GUI packages. Then after installing that one, you can do RDP, like the way I was doing it. So there are some additional software packages you need to install. Then I can do a normal RDP, and we need to set some username password there. And using that credential, I can able to access Ubuntu GUI if I want to. All right, and let me just go through any of the questions. Will be uploaded. Okay, I'm getting video of this session. The recordings already Kumar explained, and the video of the session, yes, you'll be getting. Can you share volume with multiple instances? See, at a time, the volume will be attached to one of the instance. If you want to share with the other instance, you need to detach. You need to detach the volume from that instance, attached to another one. At a time, multiple instance cannot share the same volume, but I can able to plug and play. I can remove that volume from that one instance. I can attach to another. But at a time, multiple instance cannot share same volume. And how to set up multiple systems where one will be a master, other will be a clients, one main database, multiple small database. Um, See, it's nothing but like I need to create bunch of EC2 machines in that case, Hitesh. Like if I want to create a cluster of 5 machines, 5 EC2 instances you need to create. Then depends on what software I'm going to set up. So if I'm going to set up Hadoop there, I need to install a Hadoop in all the 5 EC2 instances. Then the relevant Hadoop level configuration I need to put to connect. Anyway, all the 5 instances will be on the same network as if you are sitting in the same LAN. Okay. Now after that, if you want to create the cluster, if it is a Kafka cluster or if it's a MongoDB cluster or a Hadoop cluster, there are a certain configuration you need to follow as per the software which you are going to set up. That you need to follow. But from here, you create 5 EC2 instances, and in each of the instance, you install the required software and provide the configuration. That will ensure to create the cluster. Can we change password which we remember? Yes, so generally for a security purpose, they recommend to use a very strong password. If you want to really change the password, there are ways available. You can able to. RDP port enable. Okay, check the IP. That's fine. In real time, how the password will be shared to user. So in real time, how the password will be shared to user. So that is something like we need to. So normally, like if it is a Unix box, right? You'll be sharing the SSH. Sorry, you will be sharing the keys. These key files will be shared with the user, and using this key, they can able to either generate the password for a Windows machine, or they can able to directly do SSH if it is a Ubuntu. The way we'll be sharing as a key file. Okay, based on number of instance, memory will be divided. So this memory will be allocated for each instance. So memory based on number of instances will not be divided. It's basically like every instance will have its own memory. If I'm creating a Windows machine with like instance type as a T2 micro, I'll be getting a 2 GB RAM. So that memory would be for that particular instance. All right. Yeah, the instance configurations are predefined. Okay, from that configuration, you pick which one suits for you. Facing issue. Okay, when you're yes, so when you're going to stop that instance and when you're going to start it back, the data, whatever we stored, will still be available. Okay, you don't need to worry about the data loss if it is backed by a EBS volume. The instance again can have a like a, storage backed by EBS volume, or there are few instances can just use a cache, okay, abnormal storage. When you say abnormal storage, when the instance is running, you'll be having the storage. The moment it stops and restarts, whatever the data you have, it will lost. but whatever instance you are going to create as a EBS backed volume, the data will be available as long as the volume is attached to that instance. Then you can also go and take a backup of that instance. Like if you want to take a backup, so there is an option you can. So you can actually create a, a backup of the volumes. If you go to the volumes, you can have an option to create a snapshot. So this is a Ubuntu machine. So you want to take a backup, you can create a snapshot so that this volume will be backed up. So we need to create the snapshots at a regular interval so that even if the machine crashes, I should able to restore or recover that machine from this snapshot. Or I can create a AMI image directly from this machine. So for example, I created a machine there, I installed my application, and I want to share this instance with my application installation along with the configuration to others. Then after you did all the setup, you can create a AMI image. You create an image. Once the image you created, it will be just available under AMIs. So this AMI image you can share with others, or this will also be available when you're launching that instance. Okay, you can publish this instance also to a marketplace. So you can create your, for example, I'm developing a product and I want to make that product accessible to others. So you can just create as a AMI image and publish it into the AWS marketplace. So that will be accessible to others. I think root user, IAM user, we already discussed. Root user is an admin user. So IAM user is identity access management user. That is something like the user which is have a restricted access. Let me see any other questions. How EBS Lifecycle Manager cycle helps in the real-time world. So as I mentioned, it's basically like in the Lifecycle Manager, I can able to configure the snapshot lifecycle policy. How frequently I need to take a snapshot? I can say a policy like you take a snapshot every week, okay, or every alternate week or every day. So how it's going to be helpful is, so it will based on the schedule policy we are configuring, it will keep on take a snapshot of the volume. In case if the volume is crashed or the instance is crashed, I can always come back and restore my instance using this backed up snapshot. So that is mainly used for a recovery purpose, backup and recovery purpose. Image and container. So here with related to EC2, there is no container here. So the container concept is something different. So the container is more about if I'm going to run my application as a standalone box with all the predefined softwares like a Docker. Okay, so there it's I'll be running as a container. So when I'm saying image here, containers also will be created from an image. Image will be acting as a template to create a container. But with respect to the EC2, the image is a template for creating your EC2 instance. Okay, which is going to have your operating system. In general, image is a kind of a template, and that will have whatever the softwares which I want to install, and along with the configuration be available. If I'm going to create a EC2 instance, I need a AMI image. If I'm going to create a container, for example, Docker container, I need a Docker image. Okay, so depends on the context, the meaning will differ. So that is two different things. Yeah, you can. So it is as good as like you got on VM. So once you got a VM, and on that VM you can able to install anything 𝐬𝐿. You can install trial version or a licensed version and all. If you're going to install a trial version, after that trial period is expired, you'll not able to get access to that. How to control the auto update JDK software on Ubuntu machine? So that is more specific to the Ubuntu operating system feature. So that is like if you're able to create a Ubuntu instance, you just need to control. There are few packages and the libraries are available. Once you make that updates on proper configuration there, that will take care of JDK software. So that's slightly out of the context in this webinar, I know, But just for your information, that is something specific to Ubuntu. Using a Ubuntu, how you can control the 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐫𝐭𝐢𝐴 software updates. That's nothing to do with AWS. If the instance is stopped, will there be a charge? No, if the instance is stopped, there is no charge. But when you say instance is stopped, still the instance may have an active volume. Okay, for that instance there is no charge, but there are volume what we are using. For example, I am using a 30 GB, right? For this 30 GB there is a charge. So for the stopped instance, they will be charging only the for volumes. So if you want to see the pricing, EBS pricing. So up to 30 GB per month is free. If I'm, for example, I created 4 instances, and each of them has a 30 GB, and it stopped for 1 month. So altogether 4 into 30, I'll be getting 120 GB. So they will be calculating you used 120 GB of EBS volume. Then they will be calculating on this basis. So for every GB, they will be charging around 75, around 8.55 rupees. Okay, so if I'm using an 100 GB, 855 rupees they will be charging, even though instance is stopped, but there is an active volume. Okay, all right. See, Azure or AWS. So if you see, both of them is a strong contender, and both of them has its own market. Okay, a lot of requirements. So so which one you choose, like Azure or AWS? You have a plenty of opportunities available, but Azure is widely used for the enterprise application deployments of the private clouds. The AWS is widely used for public. So from a market share perspective, AWS has a higher market share compared to Azure, and also the maturity level, it's much higher. But having said that, whatever things you do with AWS, the similar things you can do with Azure also, but this has a lot of advanced features, and it's very stable. It's being used widely by millions of users. So definitely you have a very good career with AWS. Yeah. So but what I would recommend is you be a master of one of the cloud technology, AWS or Azure or GCP, anything. Then you still need to have a good knowledge with other things. Once you understand AWS, working with Azure is not a difficult thing. The similar concept would applies with Azure also. You try to be a master with one of them. Okay, so then you can actually expand your knowledge with the other stack as well. All right, I think it's so thanks for your participation, guys. What is a Kubernetes service? So don't worry, guys. So the Kubernetes is more like the microservice-based container deployment platform. I'm not getting. So what are the things to learn to enter into AWS DevOps? If you want to enter into DevOps, so the foundation is required. You need to know AWS computing services, AWS storage, and networking. This is the base, guys. Whichever the stream you want to grow. So what are the different streams we have? You can so the cloud practitioner is there, right? That is a base, foundational has to be there. Either you want to become a DevOps or a architect side or a developer, any of these things. Okay, then as part of the foundation, you should know the compute services, especially the EC2, and you should know storage service, especially S3, and you should know the networking concepts. That is the foundation. Then on top of that, if you are going to proceed on a DevOps, you should get an understanding about these things. OpsWorks, CloudFormation, this auto scaling, the system administration. So there are a bunch of services which is available. So you need to get good knowledge on those services to become a DevOps professional. If you want to become a AWS developer, you should get an understanding about these services. If you want to become a AWS big data developer, then you should master this analytics stack. There are a bunch of services which is available where you can build an analytics solution. If I want to become a AWS with a machine learning specialist, you should aware about these things. But for all these things, whatever we are talking, it's like a foundational service. Yes. So if I'm using a Ubuntu, it's a multi-user, multiple people can log in. If it's a Windows user, so it's like there is some restrictions. You need to purchase a license if I want. So by default, it will allow 2 or 3 people. If you need multiple people to log in to a UI, you need to buy a license for that. What is the use of AWS in QA? So AWS is basically providing the platform for deploying or running your application. With respect to QA, like this is more of like application development and application deployment, and you can do all those things. And with very specific to QA, it's like if I'm developing some application which is being deployed in AWS, making use of AWS services, that QA professional who are testing the AWS based application should aware about this basic AWS concepts in order to work or test those services. From that perspective, it may be relevant if I'm going to test the AWS based QA applications. So otherwise, so there are few automations. If you want to do, there are few services which is available, which will help you to build some kind of an automation stack. But overall, it's not like specifically designed for a QA and all. It's like an infrastructure where you can deploy application and develop, consume the services which is available. And if you're going to work with a cloud-based application as a tester, as a QA professional, and if that application running on AWS cloud, you should have this basic knowledge about the AWS to understand and test those functionalities. That's what I can tell. All right, I think we're running out of time. So thank you very much, guys, for participating in today's webinar. I hope it's being an informative and you would have enjoyed the concepts which we learned today. Before leaving, I just want to hear a quick feedback from you guys, how you find today's session, today's webinar. You can post your feedback over the chat and we can wind up. And in the next webinar, we can talk about the storage services. Okay, that is another important service. So thank you, guys. I see some feedback. It's very informative. Nice. And I would recommend you can go back and you can, so even just for your learning or experimentation purpose, you can just register an account and you can get a 1-year free access for creating a smaller instance, T2 micro instances. So you can play with that. So also that will help you to learn with AWS. Upender, yes, I do. But there are different tracks out there. AWS DevOps also on another track. All right. Very nice to see your feedback, guys. Thanks a lot, and have a nice evening. And stay safe and take care. Bye you, and see you in the next session. Bye bye.
Thanks, Sarvana.
Thank you.